Well, hello and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back here to Velocity Online Racing, and welcome back to the International IndyCar Racing League. This is round number 7 of this season, coming to you tonight from Daytona. My name is Ron Maunz. Alongside me in the commentary booth is Sébastien Kinder, waiting for that green flag to come out here tonight, which it does, and the drivers are on their way. Slightly jumbled up start as the field spreads and the speeds build, but right now getting off to an absolute flyer there. Our poleman, Ronan F. trying to hold on to P2 as it was John Christensen with a fantastic start there, now holding on to the race lead on the backstretch.
The track is it's wide, but I was shocked to see how quickly the wall appears in turn 4. So they gotta watch out for that.
It basically feels like these drivers are having to drive through a big bowl of soup compared to some of the other races they had this season. As checking up big time. That's a pit stop for Gomez.
So he's already pitting, I think, because at Talladega that was around the fuel number.
Callum Ford currently playing a nice little game of leapfrog with John Christensen. It was Christensen taking the race lead when we saw Gomez come down pit lane, and then Ford went for the move, and then Christensen has now gone back past him. So the swapperoo continuing here at the front of the field. Oh, that is a whole collection of drivers coming down pit lane. Pretty much the entire pack that was left. Eftink, big lock up there on pit lane as he tried to join, as you can see, very sketchy farther behind. This could get dicey with these drivers coming down pit lane. You've got Ensch, you've got Fiolis, you've got Bowles coming into the pits. Callum Ford.
Bowles, that was, I think he may have, he may have to move again because that was a very lousy, not lousy, but like that was a very awkward way to park here. Callum Ford, big break for him. He had a black flag, maybe too fast entering pit road.
Yeah, that's the worry, that you've got one small little infraction there and your race is effectively over. As we take a look at here from Ford, I think it may have just been, just caught out there by the pit lane speed, and that's going to catch him out.
The right front completely came off. What happened? And how the heck didn't we get a caution?
And that is bewildering. We're taking a look now. It was heading into the tri-oval. Oh my goodness me, takes a wild ride through there. Thought he was going to save it and then impacts the wall. Oh, that was so unfortunate. If he got that, it would have been the save of a lifetime, but it ends in tears. The other car involved in there, you can see the number 9. Big disaster breaking out here in this pack. Levinson, he hasn't ripped off the nose entirely. However, one half of the front wing is missing. Oh my goodness me.
That was maybe too aggressive on Matthias' part, kind of cut across too early. The good news for him, this league has one fast repair.
Speaking of, we're still making very good progress. 31 laps into the 76 lap race as it got very dicey.
Apron bad. Oh! Well, he can thank the netcode gods. No tires, just gas.
Yeah, I was going to say earlier on, Sebastian, you're bringing up the point of drivers maybe double stinting on the tires. That's exactly what Strid just did there. I think that's a winning formula if these drivers want to do well, as I believe Fiolis has just pulled down pit lane there in the 06 machine. The speeds are immense here at this race. That goes without saying, but even then, that looked almost like a scene out of a cartoon with those drivers heading down there. Van Gastel going to try and bring it down. That's going to be a pit lane speeding penalty.
Yes, A-firm.
Just a quick little note, Van Gastel, when he got that move done, was going at 254 miles an hour. That was insane speeds, but it's unfortunately the speed that he was as he came across the stripe there on pit entry that is going to cost him. When he hit that line, he was going 110. And now Eftink finds himself in the battle right now for second, side by side with Strid, actually pulling a 1.2 second margin there at the front of the field. There he is, just barely in the front of shot. What a pit cycle there for the 48, taking no tires and pulling a 1.2 second margin. Rarely, if ever, at Daytona, even in IndyCars, can you see a driver pull a margin like that. There's still a little bit of overlap between those drivers, but Ensch making his way up another spot now side by side with Eftink.
Yep, he's full throttle, map 1.
All gas, no brakes, shake and bake, do it for Dale. They're on the inside of turn number 1 and 2. Meanwhile, Ryan Bowles and Lowe, the two cars at the front of that pack, of course, Lowe still trying to make something work here in this race. They're rapidly closing in. You can just see some small little specks there in the rearview mirror. Lowe right now in fourth, going to try and get the move done. Shuffles past Fiolis. However, in that pit cycle, F-Tink able to pull a margin and hold on to it. Side by side here, Christensen and Lowe. Lowe right now, P3 here in this race, but he now has to come down pit lane 2. It was fun while it lasted. There's trouble there on pit exit, gonna spin around. That's gonna be his race and any sort of chance he had of victory over. Oh my goodness. I think that little bit of contact probably gave him an unsafe pit entry penalty there.
Yeah, because it got him out of the pit lane.
That is so unfortunate for Fiolis. It's going to fall apart just in the final stop as Ronan F-Tink has come down pit lane in live time. There you can see it. 2 wheels off in the grass. And now we get to this final stage of the race. You know, Sébastien, I remember when we were leading into the show thinking about how stressful it was going to be, stressful, same difference. How worrisome it was going to be for these drivers heading into this race. Bowles has now come down pit lane, so this will likely give the race lead back to F-Tink unless he could have a very short stop. So as F-Tink looks to try and capture the victory with 6.6 seconds the margin, the matter of who's going to finish in P2 is rather open-ended. We ride on board with Christensen. And look at West! What a run for him heading down the back straightaway. They are 3 wide all through turn number 3 and 4. This is playing with fire, but these drivers have a bottle of lighter fluid, and they're going to have a fun time. Side by side as a white flag is out in the air for F-Tink. One more lap of racing action for him to score a victory, and 3 wide once more, heading downtown through turn number 1 and 2. Straight west to Christensen. This is getting really tense. Keep an eye on Bowles in the number 25 machine. He could maybe try and get a run. Ench looks like he has some speed. He's going to maybe try and thread the needle and get a move done here right as we get towards the end. Up at the front of the field, though, with the draft assistance of some drivers behind, Ronan F-Tink is going to score the victory here under the lights at Daytona. But who's going to finish in P2? Strid and Christensen side by side right to the line. It's a matter of inches. A wreck behind. Strid gets second. Christensen in third. Bowles, West, and Edge all crash as they head their way through the tri-oval. It was 2/100ths of a second between second and third at the end of that race. And breathe.
Yeah, Strid had the RL line, the inside lane, which is on drafting IndyCar. It's pretty much the preferred lane. Maybe a bit held by Ryan Bowles right behind him. I feel like they were kind of like offset with Ench and Christensen. And, thank God we're not racing there in real life, because that would have been a very bad wreck for Dan Ench.
F-Tink scores a victory over David Strid, with John Christensen running at your podium there in third. Ryan Bowles comes across a stripe in fourth. Mike West finishes in P5. Dan Ench will round out your pack as a result of that incident there right towards the end. Rick Levinson ends up in 7th when it's all done here in this race, a rather surprising result considering how damaged that car was after an incident a little bit earlier on. Jason Lowe started this race towards the tail end, ran into some difficulties early. He ends up in P8. Matthias Strauss is in 9th, with Manuel Gomez Esteban completing your top 10.